Hi, I'm standing in the middle of the Norman Mansfield Memorial Grove, one of the most obscure visitors spots in Maryland. We're located in the loop on the Interstate 270 in Maryland, about 10 miles north of Washington, D.C., in the suburbs. And in this area, every bit of land is either mowed or plowed or paved. So here's a small spot I found, which is the only place around this suburban area where there are some native plants as well as a lot of other plants in an unmanaged field of just a few acres. Among the thistles, Japanese switchgrass, and other invasives in this area is a small patch of common milkweed, Asclepias syriaca. As you can see, the cars are driving by just a few feet away down I-270. But here we have a small stand of milkweed. It's the only area around here that I've been able to discover a growth of this plant.
So, what's so special about milkweed? Well, milkweed is the only food of the monarch butterfly, that magnificent creature that migrates across North America in the winter and settles on a few small patches of forest in Mexico. Many people have tagged monarchs to maintain a count on their numbers, which are generally in decline. One of the reasons is that their host plant, milkweed, is getting in short supply. Monarch caterpillars feed on milkweed because it contains toxic substances that make the monarchs distasteful to predators like birds. The milk of milkweed is a sticky white latex that makes milkweeds toxic to most insects too. So except for monarchs, the milkweed leaves stay mostly uneaten all summer. When the milkweed blooms in April and May, the flowers have a strong fragrance. All kinds of insects love milkweed flowers, including this giant swallowtail butterfly and this great spangled fritillary. We see many bumblebees eagerly tapping nectar from these tiny clusters of flowers. Each flower contains 5 tiny packets of pollen called pollinia. Here's what they look like under a microscope. The pollinia are shaped to fit a bee's hooked feet. While feeding on nectar, sometimes their feet will snag a packet of pollen from the flower and carry it to another plant. That is how milkweed is pollinated. It's hard to see, but this bumblebee has managed to snag at least 3 packets of pollinia on its front legs. Honeybees, flies, also like the flowers. The flowers make a nice hiding place for a camouflage spider. Can you see the pale green spider hiding here? Other insects have taken advantage of the toxic protection strategy of the milkweed. Here are milkweed beetles courting in the spring. Here is the large stand of healthy milkweed plants as they appeared in the Norman Mansfield Memorial Grove in June of 2014. In the late summer, milkweed flowers set fruit and began to develop large seed pods. Inside the pods, the seeds are packed in a neat, symmetrical arrangement. The pods open at the bottom, perhaps to keep the rain out, and they release their seeds into the wind. Fluffy milkweed seeds floating through the air was a common sight many years ago. In the fall, the bright orange and black colors of milkweed bugs are a signal to predators to leave them alone so they can dine on milkweed seeds. Here's a stand of milkweed in the grove in November of 2013. The tall stalks allow a good launching point for the milkweed seeds to float into the wind. The Norman Mansfield Memorial Grove remained a safe, special place for nature until 2015. In that year, many of the plants were removed during the construction of a small settling pond. What we thought was forgotten land was not, and the environment began to change. But the far greater change was the invasion of a new species of vine, porcelainberry, which is spread by birds and grows very rapidly. By the fall of 2016, this vine had taken over most of the grove and smothered the milkweeds and all the other plants in sight. And so it shall remain, probably. So this little natural spot, so near to civilization, has been transformed in a year into something with much less diversity. The impact is not just to plants, but also to all the diversity of insect species that thrived on the flowers of the so-called weeds in the spring and seeds in the fall. We hope that other places can be found where milkweed can be planted and protected. This could have a great benefit for pollinators, including honeybees, bumblebees, butterflies, and above all, the majestic monarch.